Alrighty, welcome back to Final Fantasy X-2, where we're gonna do things in a fairly nonchalant manner. After, I don't know, 2 hours worth of fretting over my completion percentage because it's being a bit wonky during this chapter for some reason, I think we're gonna continue. I did minor testing, did Mihin High Road, and it came up 67, which is what it should be after all of this, but it's a bit wonky before doing Mihin, and because I can't see the decimal, I have no idea if it's actually specifically where it should be, but I'm going to assume that we are all right and things are going the way they should be, and we're going to go do the Mihin mystery. Now, I screwed up something in Chapter 3. If you recall, I said something about Shinra putting down a commissary. That commissary is completely worthless because of the way I killed one of the Machina. Now, I had forgotten about this, but the Machina that's on like a little cliff overhang on the low road, the old road, whatever, old Mihin High Road or whatever, I don't remember the actual name of the area, but you can jump down to that, and you're supposed to jump down to that, but I forgot that you can jump down because this is 10-2 and not 10, so I ran all the way around and then jumped up to the Machina. If you jump up to the Machina, you miss out on an event that pins Riku in the mystery, but we should still be able to get, unless I'm mathing wrong, we should still be able to get Riku as the culprit for the Mihin mystery, and that will allow us to get Ragnarok. If you can't get Riku, Chocobo Eater is the only one that has no prerequisites. You can just come into the Mihin mystery and get Chocobo Eater, and that'll give you a clear on the area, but you will not get anything. You won't get Ragnarok or anything like that, so in theory, we should still be perfectly fine for getting Ragnarok, and in the worst case scenario, we will still get a clear for the zone, the area, whatever you want to call this. Unless I'm mathing wrong, in which case, well, bollocks, so it'll be alright though. Thankfully, this isn't a terribly difficult thing to actually do. Even without a guide, it's pretty easy to do Riku or Chocobo Eater. Now, nailing Rin, you need a guide for. You have to be very perfect for that.
Is something wrong?
Lately, a number of strange events have been occurring here on the high road. Our hover was destroyed. Also, the drone Machina malfunctioned. I've launched an investigation, but clues have been hard to come by. Forgive me for asking in such a busy time, but might I request your help in this matter? I am relieved to hear it. With your help, the mystery will be solved in no time.
But what should we do?
I have placed a number of modified comm spheres along the high road for use in our investigation. Should you find anything suspicious, please report it to me. With that, I bid you good luck.
Got the sniffles a bit. Alright, so we have a series of cameras, and the first time I tested this, I forgot you start at camera 1, so I was freaking out, like, why don't I have camera 1? But don't worry about that. We need to specifically go through a specific set of cameras in order to do this. Now, if you've done the Machina that I mentioned earlier by jumping down to it from the upper road, you can slightly modify the order I'm doing and skip camera the second time going to camera 4 and skip camera 5 and instead go to camera 7, which is Shinra's. And that'll allow you to do basically the same thing I'm going to do in one less step. Not that that's really matters, but whatever. Anyway, first place we need to go is the ruins. And we need to wait a little bit. We also need to wait for it to load between every camera, which is kind of annoying, but what can you do? Other than complain about it all the time like I do. Come on, game. There we go. We need to wait for a machina to come around from the ruins here. You can hear it basically immediately, so you usually don't need to wait very long for any specific event to occur. So he'll run around, he'll park there, and then we need to call Rin over. I did call. Now he mentions footprints on this machina, and if you jump down to kill the machina in chapter 3, you will match footprints there that belong to Riku with the footprints on this thing's face, which apparently also belong to Riku. Presumably because if you recall, well, no, I don't, it's probably not related to that, but it might be, but Riku falls off of the ruins in, I believe, chapter 1. So, you know, that's a thing. But now that we've done that, we're going to go ahead to camera 4. And this one I don't think you have to wait for at all, but I usually wait just a little bit, just to be sure. In fact, a couple of these I don't think you have to wait for at all. One of the cameras towards the end you don't have to wait at all. You just have to move the camera, so there's a group of people here. Point the camera at it, and then call Rin over. Again, I don't think you have to wait, but I like to wait just a little bit anyway, just to be sure it triggers. You'll notice some skid marks here. I assume that something that fell into the ravine is the...
We are getting closer to the heart of the matter.
Indeed.
Perhaps further investigation will yield the clues we need.
That little message means you've gone to the next phase of the investigation, but I suspect the skid marks may or may not be related to that thing down there, but who am I to guess these things? Alright, so normally, I actually had that backwards, just skip camera 1 and 4, not 4 and 5. Normally, if you'd done this properly, you would go to camera 7 and just push O, and then go to camera 5, but we have to do this in a slightly different order. So we're going to go to camera 1. And here we're going to wait for Chocobo Eater to show up, and this is actually going to give points towards Chocobo Eater, and so is the next thing, whereas if you did it properly it would go straight to Riku, but whatever. We'll still get Riku, I'm pretty sure, even if we do it in this order. So Rin shows up, that thing's trying to eat goals for some reason. It expanded its palate because the Machina drove away all the chocobos, clearly, and he has no chocobos to eat. Doesn't make a very good chocobo eater if he has no chocobos to eat. And then we go to camera 4, and we will see that very same chocobo eater. I almost said chocobo, but that's not quite right. Basically just point the camera this way and wait a second for a horrible noise. There it is. And Chocobo Eater, and then we call Rin, and oh my god, Chocobo Eater. Trying to eat that. There we go. And next we go to 5, which you would go to 5 in all circumstances, even if you did Chapter 3 perfectly, which I didn't, but you would still have to go to 5, and there should be 3 Machina that show up shortly. There they are. Sometimes it takes them a while to show up, and I'm not entirely sure why. I think maybe if you move the camera, instead of moving the camera down a little bit, if you move it somewhere else, they don't trigger or something, I'm not sure. A wounded man in the brush.
It seems we are getting closer to the heart of the matter. Perhaps further investigation will yield the clues we need.
Indeed. So now we're gonna go to the final part, the final part of this chapter, which is... I think the final part of this chapter. Yeah. We'll go to camera 1. Let me turn this way, and Rin should be sitting over here. Hello. I'm pretty sure you do have to spin the camera before you call Rin, by the way. You can't just call Rin, because then he'll show up and be like, yo, there ain't nothing going on here. And And I believe you can only call Rin once per camera per, like, investigation level, so just bear that in mind. So he walks away, and then we go to the back of the agency. Doo-doo-doo. I forgot you have to point the camera up. Because he's on the roof. There he is. Hello. Once he starts hammering, you can go ahead and push O. Then he'll fall off the roof for some reason and bash his head into the machina. Despite bashing his head into a piece of metal, he seems to be alright. For no apparent reason, but whatever. And that actually adds points to Riku for whatever reason. Not sure about that, but hey.
I believe it is all starting to fall into place. I will handle the rest of the investigation and think more on this evidence. I am grateful for your help, Lady Yuna.
You're welcome. So now we're done. The downside is, I have no idea who we've actually blamed this on until Chapter 5. So, it's either going to be Chocobo Eater or Riku. I'm pretty sure it'll be Riku though, so we'll get Ragnarok and whatnots. Either way, we will get a clear. So that bumps us to 67, which is what it should be at this point. It should be 67.4 specifically, but let's not get technical here. And I'm actually going to take a quick break. Give me a moment. And I'm back, and that was literally like a second for you guys, but whatever. Before we can do anything more with the comm spheres, because at the moment we are done with it, we have to do some stuff on the ground, as it were. So we actually get to leave the airship finally. Sadly, it's not to leave the airship for anything exciting. We get to go chase Tobli around the Moonflow, and it's very, very boring. I do recommend having a charm bangle. At this point, any grinding you do is going to be in Chapter 5, and it's going to be entirely of your own volition, because at this point I don't think you should need to level. About level... actually probably below level 40, you should be able to handle basically the rest of the game, so... Omitting optional stuff at the end game.
Sorry. Must have dropped you off at the wrong place. As long as you're there, why not take a little stroll?
Alright. Like it says mission time, but doesn't actually tell you. Oh no, yeah it does. Herp derp. Don't worry, I've played this game before. This mission is literally just run from point A to point B to point C to point D to point E to point F.
Anywhere around here, have you?
And we have to chase Tobli the whole time.
We have word that he's somewhere nearby.
And it's very tedious.
Huh? Aha! There you are!
The guy's voice reminds me of... forgot the parrot's name. The parrot from Aladdin. Not entirely sure why, necessarily, but it reminds me of him. What is that parrot's name? Why have I forgotten it? It'd be a thing I'd remember, but I don't.
Ah! That obnoxious midget! Found him!
Yep, this is the whole mission, basically. And then we get to the Moonflow, and then we have to go backwards a little bit, and then we have to go back to the Moonflow, and then we go across the Moonflow, and then we run around over there for a bit. You kind of get the deal. This is why you should really have a charm bangle. Because otherwise you're going to be having random encounters constantly here.
Learn to run like that. I'm beat.
We can't keep up! Come back here, you beak-faced fraud!
Doop-de-doo. I don't actually know specifically how long this mission is. I've only done, or I only tested through part of it earlier. Because I got complacent about saying if we're actually on the right path for 100% completion, so... what ifs. It is worth very little though, so theoretically I hope it's not too much further past the little Moonflow part that I stopped at, where you cross the Moonflow. That's where I soft reset the PS3. The game, not necessarily the PS3. That's where I pushed buttons and the game went back to the game select screen, where it asks you if you want to play one game or another game or a third game, or if you want to watch a terrible, horrible CG movie thing. I don't remember what that's called. Final Fantasy Ten something Eternal
Has
Calm.
Tobli passed this way, sir?
Whatever.
Nope. Can't say I've seen him. He must still be on the south bank.
Go take another good look.
Oh, yes, sir.
That one sounds like a generic mobster, and the other one sounds like he just rolled out of bed and swallowed like a porcupine or something. What are the voice actors for this, man? But anyway, now I have to run backwards. And it's not, you know, a trivial run backwards. It's not necessarily a long run backwards, but it is a pretty substantial run backwards. It's probably a third, well, maybe not a third of the way, but it's a way. We'll call it that. There's a lot of running. Get over it. Really, we could just grab him, but this is like generic chase person through RPG land. At least you can get no encounter in this game pretty early, and it's not like 10 where you can't get... In 10 you can get no encounter, what? Maybe 90% of the way through the game? Actually, you could probably get it a bit sooner. You can get it the first time you get to the Calm Lands if you try really hard, I think. I like how he was sitting on that thing, by the way, or, well, laying on that thing. I think you can get no encounter the first time you go to Calm Lands if you really wanted to, but it's not necessarily easy. Otherwise, you're gonna have to wait till after Yuna, I believe, to get no encounter. And the easiest way to get no encounter, if I'm recalling correctly, is that optional boss, the stonefish thing with the ribcage. I think that's the easiest way. Could be missing something. But I'm pretty sure he drops a no encounter armor, I believe. Also, I like how all these guys are like, whoa, something happened. He's gone ballistic. He's fleeing from his creditors because he didn't make enough money off of that terrible performance earlier. Like 40 hours ago. I don't actually know how long we've been playing. I focus almost entirely on the percentage and don't actually care about the timer. Yuna, it'd be nice if you could move.
He says Tobli crossed the Moonflow.
Indeed.
Follow on shoe path, yes?
Yes. Yes, indeed.
Right?
Yes. You literally just asked if I wanted to ride the shoe puff. Yes, I want to ride the shoe puff. Thank you. I think that texture is probably the one they've improved the most in the game, is the lift texture. Little screw lift thing, which doesn't actually function like a screw, but maybe there's some sort of underground mechanism that makes it work. Who am I to say how they've designed their screw lifts, witchcraft magic things? I suspect he went this way because our objective is to chase him to Guadosalam, so we'll just go in the direction of Guadosalam. Hi monkeys, bye monkeys. When we're done with this, we should be at 68%. Just barely 68, so I could use that to see if we're looking in the right range of percentage here.
He has to be here somewhere.
You don't suppose he climbed into one of them trees, do you?
Guy's voice also reminds me of something other than the parrot. What is it about his voice that seems familiar?
You're gonna kill!
Sound like Bender? I mean, it could be, because Waka's voice actor is the guy who does Bender. Maybe Bender, I don't know. It sounds kind of like it, I guess. And he's the one that speaks the most in this, so they could have got him to do that too, as well as Waka. If you didn't know, Waka has the same voice actor as Bender. I believe I mentioned that in the Final Fantasy X playthrough as well. Also Shoop-Off. And Shaky Cam. Why is there a Shoop-Off here, man? It's dangerous. So have we succeeded in chasing him to Guadosalam? Is he going to be up here, or is he wandered off somewhere else? I hope he's up here so we can move on. Oh, I forgot about the freaking, like, QuickTime DDR crap
What brings you here?
in this chapter.
Well, spectacularly spectacular. 'Twill be a yummy Unipalooza indeed. 'Twill go down in history. I most definitely want to arrange it. Can I?
Yep.
A minor detail. Where should it be?
Well, the more people we can gather together, the better.
Aha! Then how about the Thunder Plains? Yes! You could practically pack a plethora of people in that place.
Now, how do we get people to come?
Simple, leave it to me. My power PR team will push it pronto. Oh, boys!
Advertising is our specialty. We'll get you your spectators.
Are you sure about this?
Brother's orders. Bring every last Hypello back with you.
We're gonna have an airship full of Hypellos now. Fantastic! My dream has come true. I got the Black Tabard garment grid. There's very few garment grids that I actually bother using, primarily because most of the garment grids bonuses come from moving along it, and I really never move along them, you might have noticed.
We're over the calm lands now. You ready to go?
Grab everyone you see. We do not want anyone in spirit of business. Leave it to us.
Oh lord.
Will they be alright?
Be back in a jiffy, sister.
This doesn't seem safe, really. Shouldn't they jump off the back of it instead of the front? Wouldn't that be the smarter thing to do?
Alright, next stop.
We're literally just carpet bombing areas with Hypellos, apparently.
What are you up to?
A project. I'm engineering a giant sphere screen for the stage. That way, even people way in the back will be able to see you.
Your invention?
Not to mention, we're still picking up lots of waves through the comm spheres.
Nice work.
All the Hypello have been deployed.
Achtung, baby! To the concert grounds!
Now Brother is speaking German for no apparent reason. Brother, you don't make any sense. I like his little bubble of, like, information. He's basically just sitting in a sphere. Before we do that, though, we have to practice. We have to rehearse. Which requires we go to the cabin and play a very odd minigame that doesn't really flow with any other part of the game and also can be gimmicked really easily. And I do mean really easily. I'll try and play it, you know, legit, because why the heck not? But if you wanted to, you could just kind of roll your hand around on the face buttons.
Rehearsal starting.
So there you go. Miss Yuna and Miss Riku are nervous. What is Riku doing? So we have to press buttons in time with the beat, etc, etc. It's basically DDR, for all intents and purposes, I suppose, except very poorly made because it's not a game based entirely around mashing buttons. So if you wanted to, you could just mash all the buttons constantly and you'd be perfectly fine, but I'll try and play it legitimately. You'll get more points for dashing in time with the red ones, you say. What are you on about? If you press the same button as Miss Riku, your groove will go through the roof. Those buttons are terrible to, just wanted to point that out. Those button designs are terrible. Whatever.
Hey, Uni, hurry up and change!
So demanding. How come Pain isn't dancing with us? I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but sure. Whatever. I'm supposed to be watching notes, aren't I? I forgot about that. I forgot. We gotta push notes and stuff. Hey, I don't know. Sure. It makes weird noises, and I'm not sure why. Way, I got 27. I got a pearl necklace. Woo.
It's almost time. Do you think people will show up?
You betcha! The Thunder Plains will be packed.
Not if I get that low of a score.
What are you gonna sing? Wow, did you write that?
It's more like I felt it. I can hear it echoing inside me.
Len?
I think so. I don't know much about her, but I'm learning more and more. Bits and pieces of her memories keep pouring in. It's like I can feel what she was feeling.
Thus shall Len's scattered thoughts be woven into bittersweet song. Something like that?
Hey, that was poetic.
We'll be arriving soon. After Buddy drops us off, he and the others will go pick up the spectators.
So we won't be able to board for a while.
You got it.
Hooray! And we should be at, assuming it lets me get to the save sphere anyway without booting me off the ship immediately. We should be at 69.2, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll head to the bridge, make a save. Well, we actually need to do commissary stuff anyway, so... I want to do the commissary stuff first. Let's check our percentage and then do the commissary. Because why not? There's one save here that I don't want to overwrite, so I gotta be careful about where I'm making miscellaneous saves now. In case something goes wrong in Chapter 5, I want to have that back up. We are at 69, which is the greatest percent, so I believe we're still on course, and we've got not a whole lot left in terms of actual gameplay here.